Shalom, Israel. Today I'm going to be, giving you some of my reflections and ruminations regarding certain events that have been trending on both the dominant mainstream as well as the social media spaces in the recent past. Not the least of which is the recent ruckus or brouhaha regarding a certain pastor named Biodun Fatoyinbo, who is the General Overseer of COSA, Commonwealth of Zion Assembly in Abuja, as well as Professor Wole Soyinka's window seat saga, including other issues that also revolves around some of my podcasts. But I'm not gonna take them in any particular order. But as they come into my head, I'm gonna just speak on them, and I'm gonna lay out some of my own impressions and opinions and reflections regarding many of these subject matters. First of all, the issue of Pastor Biodun Fatoyinbo's alleged rape of one Mrs. Busola Dakolo. This is not his debut in this sort of behavior. In the not too distant past, the social media was just on fire regarding the same pastor when a certain woman whose name must remain anonymous, came to the social media to complain that she was sexually abused by this same pastor Biodun Fatoyinbo. Barbara Streisand, American songstress, once sang in one of her hit songs named "The Way We Are" that what's too painful to remember, we simply choose to forget. What is too painful to remember, we simply choose to forget. You see, though Nigeria is a conservative country, it doesn't matter whether you're a Christian, Muslim, and Jews. Right in the recent, past, a lot of Igbos have been retracing their roots to their, to their Jewish, Israelite, Hebrew lineage. So whether you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, a Jewish, or you don't ascribe to any organized religion, Nigeria is still a very conservative place. And this is a telescopic moment because, Nigerians have always not been very, very open to discuss, sexual issues. But things are beginning to change. These are changing times. So Nigerian women are now unhinged. They have been released out of their cocoons. They are no longer having any hang-ups regarding speaking up about the way they feel. For the mere fact that this woman, Miss Busola Dakola, came to the social media to make this very, very serious allegation against a celebrity pastor, in of itself is very damaging. And the woman's testimony, because I watched an interview that she granted to one hashtag Chude Jide Omo. If you look at her, if you look at her body language, and look at her consistency in narrating the sexual assault that occurred almost a decade ago, she has this photographic memory of everything that happened, and she's articulating the account of what happened in terms of time, space, and dates, and up to the type of outfit, the sartorial standard that she was adorned with on the early morning of the attack. So you can see that she is not making this up. She is being consistent with her account. She is not making anything up, because first of all, she has nothing to gain by attempting to tarnish or besmirch the reputation of a pastor. And again, I started this podcast by announcing to you that Nigerians are conservative. For a Nigerian woman to come to the social media or the mainstream media to speak out about a rape that she suffered, tells you that this event occurred. She was asked a lot of questions, and she didn't have to think about, she didn't have to, ask for, time to recall what happened. She has a photographic memory, and there was a lot of automaticity with the way she recounted that encounter that very morning. That the doctor, the pastor, barged into her home, and then tackled her to a couch, and proceeded to rape her. Rape, I have a personal experience with a rape, and I wasn't raped, but a member of my family has had that experience. And I'm going to keep her name anonymous, because I have to maintain her, privacy and, her confidentiality. So every time I hear about rape, I take it personal, because it has occurred to somebody that I love. And I'm beginning to give kudos, and I doff my cap to these courageous women who are coming forth to speak up and out about sexual assault, about rape, about sexism, misogyny, and patriarchy, and different levels of dominance that they have had to wrestle with in the hands of men. This is just a drop in the bucket. There are instances of rape that has swept across Nigeria for many years that have been unreported, because the women cannot stand the shame and the umbrage the community will assign to them just for speaking out, because we live in a conservative society. But times are changing, and I can tell you that this is not going to be the last allegation against Pastor Biodun Fatoyinbo. Many women are going to find their voices. This is gonna be like an epiphany. A telescopic moment. Telescopic is something that amplifies and magnifies and enlarges a phenomenon. So something that has been hidden from us. A very serious indiscretion by powerful men, by pastors, businessmen or politicians are going to be bubbling to the surface, because a lot of women are going to be coming out to tell their stories. Please do not doubt these women, because they have none to gain by rubbishing or attempting to blemish or tarnish the image of someone who has not had any illegitimate sexual encounter with them. This particular woman is believable. She's beautiful as can be, and and she's attractive. If she was a whole skeezer or a chicken head, then one would say, oh, she's just making it up in order to get her 10 minutes of fame. But the woman is beautiful, she's attractive, she's just sophisticated. And this is the kind of woman that every man is going to desire. So it stands to reason for for a pastor who can be able to get to her in a legitimate, way, to attempt to, get what he wants forcibly or forcefully, because she's beautiful. She's not a hoe. She's not a skeezer. She's not a chicken head. She is a woman who is well educated. She has a career. She's beautiful. She's from a stable home. So she is desirable. Every man wants her. And this pastor has also been involved in this in similar incident in the past. There was a woman who came and alleged that this pastor, I can't recall whether it was a rape or sexual assault or just fornication, but whatever it is unbecoming of men of God to take advantage of the people who are entrusted into their care. They are supposed to be the shepherd, providing spiritual upliftment and enrichment to the lives of the members of their congregation. But these people have become vulnerable. The members of the congregation, especially the females, have become vulnerable. They have the pastors are beginning to commodify and objectify them. They think these women are objects of their capricious liaison. And this is something we must have to vigorously interrogate and condemn. That pastors are now in the business of raping their members of their flock is something that is unconscionable, and it is something that must draw the umbrage of the entire community. I like the level of community efficacy that has trailed this woman's testimony. I've been following social media. A lot of people have been making comments in support of her courage and in support of the way and manner she found her voice in the midst of potentially dangerous situation, because in Nigeria, if you are too vociferous, if you come out to voice your concern, to speak up about what you have been through, you might be a target of calumny. You might be a target of some drastic and draconian consequences. But regardless of the inimical consequences of coming out in the open, especially in the social media space, to make this allegation and support it with a credible testimony, that to me is a very laudable path that this woman has followed. And we need to support this woman. We need to support women in the same predicament that have been violated. She wasn't violated not once but twice, and it could be more than one time. Even she alleged that the pastor, smacked her behind, smacked her butt. That in of itself is sexual assault. It's different from rape. Rape is different from sexual assault. But if you are smacking a woman's butt that is not your wife nor significant other, that in of itself is also a sexual assault, which is different from rape. The woman was so courageous that she painted a clear, implicit, explicit image of how the pastor penetrated her. She wasn't holding anything back. She wasn't holding anything back. She spoke as it is. She spoke like somebody who has a lot of pain and hurt in her heart. So we need to support her in any way we can, and that's going to constitute part of the healing process for her, because rape is a very evil event in the life of every woman. There is no cure. It doesn't have a statute of limitation. It has no expiry date. And this, to the members of the law enforcement of Nigeria, you need to start taking rape as serious as kidnapping, armed robbery, or any other heinous crime. Because women, they lose their dignity. They lose their self-worth and self-efficacy when they have been so violated. If this story is going around in social media, I think it is about time that the police, the SSS, or any other law enforcement agency to invite this Pastor Biodun Fatoyinbo for investigation. They have to investigate this matter to get to the root of it. If one woman has, alleged that this pastor was in an uncompromising relationship, another one comes out to say that she was raped not once, twice, and then sexually assaulted another time, because when you smack a woman's buttocks, that's a sexual assault. If it's if the woman didn't ask you to do that. So this is unbecoming of men of God, to be taking advantage of people, and the media, the social media, as well as dominant mainstream media spaces are just on fire. They are abuzz, with this particular, trending information. Everybody's, presenting and passing comments, all in support of the woman's, traumatic experience in the hands of this particular celebrity pastor. And members of COSA, Commonwealth Assembly, Commonwealth of Zion Assembly, you need to start conducting your own internal investigation. You cannot be following men of God sheepishly. You have to be Socratic. You got to ask questions. You got to begin to interrogate the lifestyle of your pastors. If women are complaining that a pastor who is the shepherd of your church is getting involved, is being, has been, given the toga of a rapist, this should fill you with concern. It is something you need to interrogate. You need to look that pastor straight in the eye and ask him, Pastor, tell me, did you rape this woman? It's not a matter of, just providing this weak, weak rebuttal. Oh, I did not rape her. I didn't even rape when I was an unbeliever, let alone when I don't believe that. This is probably not the first time, there's an Igbo parlance that once a thief is caught, he always, argues that that's his debut or his first time. I don't think this is your first time. It's just that you got away. You've been very lucky. These women that you've assaulted are not courageous enough to come out to tell their story. But I can guarantee you with this telescopic moment, a lot of these women are going to be coming forward. Can we question some of the testimonies of some of the women that may come forward? Absolutely. But this particular woman, Busola Dakolo, she's married. She has none to gain by attempting to, blemish or tarnish your image. But she, is very consistent with her account. She's telling us the time, the space, the days this attack occurred, and telling us the kind of outfit she wore that particular morning. And she is telling us this occurred over 10 years ago, and she has a photographic memory. She remembers all the minute details about this event. She is not making it up. So people need to start believing women. There are some women who just want to come out there to make wide, bogus, claims about rape and sexual assault. Absolutely. But for the most part, we can tell them, this woman is credible and she is married. It's not every married woman that will want to come out to social and mainstream media to make such an allegation, because that can have an impact on her marriage. But she had the conversation with her husband, and the husband, encouraged her to go and tell her story. And this is the kind of husbands we want in Nigeria, that will not be judgmental, will provide that emotional and spiritual support for their spouses, especially when a serious allegation like this has been made. So I'm tacitly in support of the woman's courage coming out to tell her story, finding voice to amplify, magnify, and enlarge. This is a telescopic moment. And this, a lot of people who have participated in one form of rape or the other are going to be jittery. They're going to be, scared straight, because a lot of women are going to be courageous to come and equally tell their stories. So I support Ms. Busola. I don't know her, Dakolo. I don't know her husband either. But this is one courageous family that, must, attract our fancy, that must, attract some form of accolade from every member of the community. And I really appreciate the level of, community, efficacy, that has, followed this very, very serious allegation. A lot of people have been supporting her. A lot of celebrities have been speaking on her behalf, encouraging her just to stay strong. So we got to stand with her. Now, the next point I'm gonna dwell on right now is a social media. I think it's from a Facebook post that I saw. It says, I think I tried to write it down, but I don't know where I put it. But it says by, is it 2025 or 2030, there will be no more Christians in Nigeria. I think it's from some national evangelical movement of Nigeria. By 2025, 2030, there will be no more Christians in Nigeria. I didn't read the full report, but I don't know what that means. Are the Christians going to be chased out of Nigeria, or are they going to be annihilated or eviscerated and killed off, or are they going to be forcefully converted? Maybe the Christians need to start worrying about why by 2030 their population will be decimated in Nigeria. But we, the Igbo Jews, are not afraid of anything, because I already made the prediction that as far as the Igbos are concerned, with the level of frenetic activity in terms of exiting the churches and finding their ways into synagogues, consistent with the religion of our forefathers, which is the Hebrew religion. A lot of Igbos are, exiting churches and going into synagogues, and they're finding their way back into the religion of our forefathers. While there may not be any remnant of Christianity in Nigeria by 2030, according to this prediction, the number of synagogues and Jewish temples in Nigeria are going to grow exponentially, because Judaism is the religion of Igbos. We are Jews, Israelites, and Hebrews. So the Christianity loss is going to be Judaism gain. So I didn't read the entire report, but from what is already going on right now in Nigeria, it seems to me that a lot of Christians are being massacred. They're being killed in different parts of Nigeria. But the Jews are going to stand together. We're going to stand strong as a religious entity in Nigeria. When it comes to identifying religions in Nigeria, the only thing that comes to mind is Christianity, Islam, and then the ones that don't ascribe to any organized religion. But I can tell you that Judaism is also going to make its way into that list, from the way our people are now, finding their way into synagogues. So I don't really know what that means. Are the Christians gonna be killed off? Because I still have many members of my family who go to church. So are they going to be forcefully converted to other religions, or are they going to be chased out of town? I don't really know what that means. But the critical question I gotta ask is, then what do you do? Since you already have seen the handwriting on the wall, what are you gonna do to make sure that that prediction does not come true? To make sure that what you are visualizing that will occur by the year 2030 is not made effective. So this is a question that everybody needs to wrestle with, that there will be no Christianity in Nigeria by 2030. But I need to do some more research and find out why this is going to be the case. The next point, I'm going to just be going back and forth. Every time I remember a very important point, I'm going to just slide it in there. not too long ago, there was this report about Professor Wole Soyinka, whom I read many of his poems while I was in high school. I think there was a poem I read about the landlord, and they were on the phone. Is it a brunette or a blonde? Something like that. I can't remember the title of the poem, but very brilliantly written poem. And so many of his books, like Ake, Days of Innocence, and things like that. I read that he inadvertently or diligently took a seat that he was not assigned to. It was a window seat. Whereas he was, his ticket information, assigned him to an aisle seat. But he went and, sat comfortably on a window seat. But then the young man who has a legitimate claim to that seat comes along and tells him, excuse me, sir. I know he probably knew who Wole Soyinka is, from his signature Afro gray hair. Everybody knows him. But the young man, probably one of those, Socratic, minded individuals that will interrogate anybody who is, acting out of line or out of order or out of policy. Goes to him and says, sir, this is my seat. I need to take my seat. To the chagrin of the professor, he was just, he was taken aback that a colossus and a luminary, like a literary luminary like him, that has also won many prizes, not the least of which is a Nobel Prize in Literature, is being, oh, they took the light. I'm gonna change the direction of this. See if I can get the light. Yeah, like that. Oh, okay. I'm gonna try to set this thing up. So the light. So was asked to relinquish his seat. So that began to trend, and there were a lot of comments from different people. I hope it doesn't fall off. But I just want the lights to kind of focus so that the video doesn't get blurred out or blacked out. But anyway, so the people have been making comments, and but my question is I said, somebody who is highly regarded, both locally, nationally, and internationally, to find himself in that kind of a situation where he's trying to wrestle for a window seat from somebody who has a legitimate right to that seat is something that is unbecoming of a professor that we all respect, we all admire. Even though it took him, days, if not weeks, to come out with a statement, which is to the effect that, he inadvertently went to a seat that he wasn't assigned to. When I'm traveling or when I'm flying, I'm always conscious of, my seat, so that I don't have to deal with anybody. But it seems to me that there's a sense of entitlement in the mindset of certain Nigerians that they care less about the rights of others or other people. They have a sense of entitlement. I can take any seat I want, and there's nothing you can do about it. But okay, this is also a telescopic moment. This is a moment that Nigerians are beginning to assert their rights. They are beginning to challenge misogyny, sexism, and patriarchy. The different levels of dominance. The different levels of patriarchy. Heteropatriarchy that we have been subject to is beginning to be exposed for what it is. People are now speaking out, regardless of whose ox is being gored. People are now, asserting their rights in Nigeria, and this is a very important moment. This is a moment that we all should be proud of, where one event after another, people who are downtrodden, people who are invisible, are finding their voices to challenge patriarchy. They're challenging these multiple levels of, dominance that we've been subject to. When I'm flying, I'm very respectful of other passengers. I'm not, it's untenable. It's not acceptable for you to allege that, well, I didn't know that wasn't my seat. I kind of, missed, my sitting position. Many people like, window seats. Every time I'm traveling, I tell the airline I want a window seat, not for any particular reason, not for health reason. I just thought window seat is going to help me get a clearer view of the tarmac, of what is happening, during flight. I can, draw down the blinds. I can pull it up. I can just do a lot of things. So, window seat is not taken by accident. Is through capricious endeavor that you take a window seat. You gotta plan for it. So, but the point here is not about window seat. But the point here is that about the people who have been downtrodden, people who are invisible, rising up and beginning to interrogate patriarchy, beginning to question and interrogate multiple levels of dominance that we've been subject to. And Nigerians are beginning to assert themselves. For how long shall we remain silent in the face of potentially insulting situations, in the face of patriarchal attitude of the people that are in authority, the people that are well known, the people that are celebrities. It is about time that people start finding their voices, start challenging patriarchy, start interrogating things that are out of the norm, things that are that are based on entitlement, things that are based on traditions and norms. Traditions are not constitutional rights. These are just procedures and norms that we have followed, albeit sheepishly over the years. They don't confer any constitutional authority on anybody. That I want to give up my seat to an elder is out of kindness of my heart. It is my choice. It's not because I am required to do that. I bet you if Professor Wole had changed his tone and tenor, from the way he addressed the young man. I wasn't there, but I know the tone and tenor, is very, very important. Is of critical importance. The way you speak to people can, reduce the thermostat. It can reduce the temperature. But if you're talking to them from a standpoint of entitlement, then they're gonna, maybe they're gonna stand in their authority and look straight into your eyes and tell you, look, this is my seat. I need to have it right now. But if the professor felt that that window seat, was something that based on his age and his status, that would have helped him enjoy the then I would have helped. So let me go take the phone. Hello? Yeah. Yes. Okay. All right. This is going to be the end of the video. I got to go take care of some business. Bye. Thank you.